Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. We're on two brothers, it's domination, and just for once we're not going to see people rushing down the middle. Well, we will, but we'll be seeing it from a distance, not up close and personal. May become hot here, great name by the way. In the German Tier 10 cruiser, the Hindenburg is not going to be attempting to emulate Flambas today. He's going to be playing it safe. Well, as safe as the situation allows, which is not going to be particularly safe once this battle starts developing. It's obviously a Tier 10 battle, the Hindenburg is a Tier 10 heavy cruiser. But it is just a Tier 10 battle, there are no Tier 8s, there are no Tier 9s, it's only Tier 10s. So a completely even playing field, although I'm sure somebody somewhere will still find something to complain about in the matchmaking. Oh yes, there we go, there's a carrier in play. There you go. There's something for someone to complain about. Right, anyway, the Hindenburg. This ship used to be ridiculously overpowered. When it was introduced, stealth firing, open water stealth firing was still a thing. So everybody took the range upgrade on the Hindenburg, which allowed you to fire out to, I think, 23 kilometers. And the ship was only detected on the surface from a range of about 16 kilometers. Which gave you a 7-kilometer open water stealth firing window to abuse. This was back in the day when firing the guns didn't bloom your surface detection range to the range of whatever your guns were. And Hindenburg captains abused the shit out of that game mechanic. Of course, those days are long gone, and that's probably a very, very good thing. As far as the nerfing and buffing history of this ship is concerned, you know, to be honest, it's been nerfed and buffed and nerfed and buffed and nerfed again so many times I've lost track. I think at the moment we're in a bit of a buff cycle, but honestly I really couldn't be sure. Yeah, I'm reasonably sure the last thing that happened to the Hindenburg was a buff, but I've really given up trying to keep track. It's a pretty good ship though. She's a solid upgrade over her predecessor, the Rune, at Tier 9 in just about every way imaginable. She's got more guns, better anti-aircraft defences, more health, more torpedoes, and much, much better armour. She is still just a cruiser though, so you don't want to be giving broadsides to battleships, at least not battleships that are firing armour-piercing at you, or you will suffer accordingly. The damage per minute that this ship can kick out with its 8-inch guns is also pretty impressive. I mean, they don't load and fire as fast as the Des Moines, but nobody loads and fires as fast as the Des Moines. Alright, except for the Salem, yes, I know. But a 9.8, I think, second reload, base reload, before applying modifiers, is still pretty damn impressive, and the Hindenburg has more guns than the Des Moines, they have a longer range than the Des Moines, and they have higher shell velocity and thus flatter firing arcs, which means in practice, as you can see here, the Hindenburg is very, very good at reliably and consistently pouring a metric arse-ton of damage down on targets at extreme range. It's just unfortunate that his armour piercing wouldn't really be terribly effective against the Conqueror at this kind of range. I mean, the high explosive is doing a lot of damage. The Conqueror's doing a fair amount of damage when he fires back, but while the Conqueror firing high explosive can expect to do anything between 7,000 to 12,000 damage when those shots land. But the Hindenburg is doing 6,000 to 9,000 damage with every salvo he fires, and he's firing those salvos 3 times faster. The only problem is that because it's high explosive, none of that damage is going to stick on the Conqueror. Because of the Conqueror's ridiculous heal, it can... oh shit, torpedoes. Many, many torpedoes. Many torpedoes that are about to run out of steam, fired by that Shimakaze. So he's not using the 20-kilometer torpedoes, which indicates that he is capable of thinking and breathing at the same time, so we're going to need to pay him a healthy dose of respect. But yes, the Conqueror, of course, with its legendary print-a-new ship heal, can heal back all of that high explosive and fire damage. So stacking damage like this on a Conqueror, unless you can sink him, it doesn't really mean anything. Well, that's not strictly true. It is forcing him to pull back, so there's that. But it's probably not going to kill him. He's probably getting extremely pissed off with it. But all he has to do at this range, if he wants it to stop, is, well, stop firing. And, yep, That's exactly what he's done. So the next time we see him, he's probably going to be pretty much more or less back on full health. So, unable to finish off the Conqueror, he's switching to the Des Moines. It's a shame he didn't have armor piercing preloaded. He's switched to it now after unloading the 8-inch high explosive, but I don't think he's going to get the shot that he wanted to really punish the Des Moines with the armor piercing. Nope. Meanwhile, the team have just suffered their first casualty. The enemy Halland, well actually, one of the enemy Hallands, because there are two of them over here. They have all three of the enemy destroyers on this side, both of the Hallands and the Shimakaze that we saw earlier. And one of them has just sunk the friendly Halland, who you can see in a sort of burning wreck over there on the left-hand side of the screen. And that's not good news for May Become Hot. Because watch what happens the second he's spotted. He's immediately targeted by 2-3 enemy ships. And there are still more than enough enemies up there to be also pouring fire down on the Thunderer. So there's a lot of enemy ships up towards the northern end of the map here. And the second that Thunderer dies, guess who they're all going to be gunning for? Meanwhile, I did say we were going to see some action in the middle of the map. It's just not going to be May Become Hot. A Yamato, yes, really, has sailed down the middle and killed the Z-52. So the team have now lost 2 of their 3 destroyers. There's a Yamato in the middle, and the surviving destroyer, the Kleber, is making a run on the enemy aircraft carrier, which means the team is very quickly about to lose its 3rd and final destroyer. Oh, and May Become Hot is now the only surviving ship left on this side of the map, although there is a Kremlin digging in and standing by to repel boarders on the side of this island. Meanwhile, the enemy Shimakaze just popped up, and he's only spotted because he's just decided to start firing his guns at a nearly full health Hindenburg. What could he possibly hope to gain from that? Yep, there are the torpedoes. Our earlier suspicions that that Shimakaze actually has a clue have just been confirmed. He saw that those torpedoes were probably going to miss, and he fired the guns to try to trick May Become Hot into turning the ship in order to get all of the guns firing, and it very, very nearly worked. Meanwhile, the Des Moines has just taken his brave pills. It's a shame he hadn't also taken his smart pills, because he's shooting at the Kremlin, I think. The Kremlin is given a nice flat broadside for him to shoot at, but he's firing high explosive and not armor piercing. He's angling the nose in against the Kremlin, but doesn't he realise there's a Hindenburg over here? Oh, he's now slowing down because he doesn't want to get any closer to the Kremlin. Time for some armor piercing, I think, don't you? May Become Hot seems to agree. Oh, this is going to hurt. Didn't hurt him enough, though. Well, I'm pretty sure the second salvo is going to finish him. Remember, cool ships don't look at explosions. Back to the high explosive. Shots out at the Halland. Ah, there's a lot of enemy ships. The Yamato, who came down the middle, by the way, still hasn't been killed, and it looks like he's in the process of being joined by a Stalingrad and a Kremlin. Meanwhile, shots out at the Minotaur. Switching to the armor piercing. Unfortunately, the Minotaur has just gone undetected. The Conqueror's back, pretty much on full health, as predicted. Where did the Minotaur go? And why is nobody shooting at May Become Hot? He's the target on the flank. He's the one with the broadsides. He's the one that they should be focusing down first. But of course, they're not. Minotaur's back momentarily. Too late for him to do anything about it. Be nice to get this island between himself and the Conqueror. So he only has to fight the Minotaur and all of the enemy destroyers, and not the Minotaur and all of the enemy destroyers and the Conqueror. That Minotaur... There must have been a sale on brave pills on the enemy team. I can't. Okay, he's trying to smoke up, but he's going way too fast for that to be effective. Oh, lots and lots of destroyers. You know what? Let's shoot at them while we can. Minotaur's managed to slow down enough. Or has he? No, he has not. I think that's the smoke firing penalty. Oh, this is going to hurt. Yep, that's really going to hurt. He's trying to back up into the smoke screen. Too slow. Shots are already out. I'm pretty sure that is going to be a... Oh, no. It's going to take a third salvo. I'm pretty sure that is going to be a dead Minotaur. Is it? Wait for it. Yep, it is. So now he just has those 3 enemy destroyers and the Conqueror to worry about. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, a friendly Yamato has now joined the enemy Yamato, who has been joined by the enemy Kremlin and the enemy Stalingrad. The only possible explanation I have for that is that the world's biggest pot of glue is located somewhere in the channel between those 2 islands, and everybody's just desperate for a sniff. He is getting awfully close to a whole bunch of destroyers and smoke screens that almost certainly contain destroyers. Are the Halland's torpedoes ready to go? You know what? It's a Halland. Let's just assume they are, because even if they're not, they're probably going to be very, very soon. Oh, Shimakaze. That's a lot of destroyers, and potentially a lot of torpedoes. Hydro up. Meanwhile, the friendly Yamato has just rammed or been rammed by the enemy Kremlin in the channel in the middle of the map. Presumably they had a falling out over who the glue belonged to. There go the Shimakaze's torpedoes. No surprise there. The Shimakaze, well, he fucked up. There's no 2 ways about it. He backed into the cove there when he should have been using the smoke screen to get the hell out of there and outside of hydro range, so he's dead, and the Halland manages to survive, but only just. And there's the Conqueror, back on full health, or as close as counts. So one of the Hallands has just disappeared around the corner of the island, although he hasn't really disappeared. He's still being detected on hydro, but he's almost certainly got his torpedoes ready to go by now, and he's just waiting for the opportunity to pounce. The other Halland is down here, somewhere, in the cap circle, which is very, very cheeky of him. Although not terribly smart, because he's only a couple of kilometres away from Puerto Rico, which means, well, he doesn't even need to use his radar, he's just surface spotted him. And he is, of course, only a couple of kilometres away from a grosser Kurfürst secondaries. Meanwhile, torpedoes from the first Halland, and yep, they really do reload that quickly, but maybe Come Hot was aware that they were coming. And he's taken one. Unfortunately, it caused a flood, but Halland torpedoes tickle rather than hurt. It fires a lot of them very, very quickly, but individually they don't do a lot of damage. He is, of course, burning and flooding at the same time, with the fires set by the Conqueror over there. But the fires have just gone out. His damage control is back, but the flood isn't going to last that much longer either, so we may as well save it. This is fine. There goes the flood. Right. Conqueror's on very low health, and he's burning. He doesn't appear to have a heal. The hydro's out. Spot a plane up, just in case the Halland has any funny ideas. High explosive out. Fire set. Switch to armor piercing. Nice fat broadside. Probably not going to score a citadel because it's a Conqueror, but when he's on that low health, you don't need a citadel. And he actually managed to get the Arsonist award right at the moment his armor piercing shells impacted, so yeah. Halland's back up. He's being spotted by the FDR. Let's take advantage of this while we can. The thing about the Hindenburg, especially if you take the adrenaline rush skill, is that at that kind of range, as you can see, by the time the first salvo have landed on the target, the second salvo is pretty much ready to go. Oh, I think this is going to be a kill. Is this going to be the Kraken? It is! Oh, and the high caliber as well. 237,000 damage. Where are all those torpedoes? They must be from the enemy carrier, because there's nothing left armed with torpedoes. The enemy Slava is rushing down the middle. The friendly Puerto Rico has indicated that he's going to try to catch him in there and ram him. I don't know what it is about the middle of the map on Two Brothers. So far it's consumed, let's just see, 2 Yamatos, 1 Kremlin and a Stalingrad. And it's about to consume, probably, a Slava and a Puerto Rico as well. Let's take a closer look, shall we? The Slava has just been spotted. There's a Smolensk trying to squeeze in there with a Puerto Rico too and steal the honour from him. But I'm pretty sure the Puerto Rico's got this. Yep, there it goes. 1 Slava disposed of. I'm not sure it was a great trade. I mean, the Puerto Rico still had 30,000 health left, but it's a Slava disposed of. It's guaranteed damage, and this match is basically over. They just have to find and kill the enemy carrier. Which they did, funnily enough, without an awful lot of help from the friendly carrier. Although it's difficult to be too critical, because what the FDR was doing with his aircraft was providing fighter cover for the extremely low health Smolensk rather than scouting to find the enemy carrier. But there's only really one place he can be. It's not like the team actually needed the carrier to find the enemy CV for them. He's up there in the top northeast corner. There's nowhere else for him to have run to. So it's only a matter of time. And they can see where his aircraft are coming from. Just follow the path back. At this stage of the game, he doesn't have time to be plotting dogleg courses to try to throw off his pursuers. He needs to cycle those aircraft as quickly as he possibly can and try to do as much damage as he can, although it's difficult to see how even a carrier can prevail against 5 enemy ships, if they're not all destroyers. And there he is, shots out. Pretty sure armor piercing would have been more effective, but he's on such low health it doesn't really matter. It's just a question of who's going to get the kill. And there it is, kill number 6. Unfortunately, no post-battle results screen, so that means once again you're going to be treated at no extra cost to one of my handcrafted, world-famous, customised post-battle results screens. No, it's okay. No need to thank me. It's all part of the service. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.